Nice. Okay.
Okay. Well, hi, Johann. Nice to meet you once again. So I've heard also that you're now quitting your CTA coaching business. My name is Hermanni, and I'm actually one of your former from the Flow Republic program, and we've done a lot of things together. And well, you're now ending the CTA coaching, at least for now. So how did you get into CTA coaching in the first place?
This is a very good question. So thank you very much, Hermanni. Yes, I think you have been one of my first students who ever became CTA.
Really?
Yes, I think one of the first few. I have to look it up, but at least the first 5. It was super exciting for me. How did I become? Seb asked me. I mean, it already it was during the COVID times, and once I became CTA, I still didn't know exactly what to do next. I was not sure if freelancing or signing up with a big consultancy, and Seb asked me if I can support him coaching, because I already was doing a lot of CTA community work at this point in time anyway. And Seb asked me, and I happily agreed, and from there it just snowballed into becoming my almost full-time job for the last couple of years now. I think there was just a niche to be explored, and I had a lot of fun doing it, so why not?
So what made you sort of make the decision then to actually start coaching? Is that something you considered beforehand, or?
Absolutely not. But this is maybe something I have never considered it before. This is maybe something that is maybe different for me, but it looks like my career looks like really well planned out, but it's actually just a set of very spontaneous random decisions. And only in hindsight, they look like a plan.
Yeah, I guess that's a lot of careers that are like that.
Is yours the same? I always thought yours looked like perfectly planned.
The way that I ended up doing Salesforce is because of the Finnish military system. Let's just say that.
Really?
Yes, I did the civil service instead of the military service, and that's how it started.
Yeah. So I think this is maybe one of the dirty secrets. Everybody always thinks we have a plan. No, we don't. We just stumble from one chance to another.
That's right. That's right. And you might, have like something comes up, and you might change your plan. That your plan is now this. Something else comes up. Now your plan's this. And I guess now something's come up, and your plan is now to move on from the CTA coaching. So, well, can you tell us a bit what kind of things you'll be doing now that after the CTA coaching, and why you're sort of ending the coaching?
Yeah, maybe first what I'm gonna do next. So I'm gonna go into consulting. I signed up with Capgemini from 1st of January. I'm looking forward to work with amazing people like Lilis and Kit and Chetan and Christopher. Can't wait to do that, and can't wait to go into consulting. I have done consulting as a freelancer over the last couple of years, ever since I became my CTA, but never to the extent of being part of a team for a large project. It's something different if you are the freelancer. You know it yourself, Hermanni. Have you been the freelancer yourself?
Actually, no. I've always been in consulting or on the sort of customer side.
Yeah. But you know how you look at the freelancers.
Yeah. It depends on the team structure, honestly. Like every single situation's very different. Sometimes you might have like really big multi-vendor environments where there's freelancers, multiple consultancies, everybody trying to do something.
Yeah. So I was kind of almost tired of being alone. Let's be honest. Ever since I started my CTA journey 4 years ago, I was sitting at home here in my office, not having a formal team. Of course, I was part of teams, but never had, I was not invited to Christmas parties for the last 4 years, office Christmas parties. I never thought I would miss them, but I actually miss them. I actually miss team buildings. I actually miss weekly team meetings, these kind of things. Being a freelancer is almost like a lonely thing at the end of the day.
So now you're looking to get this more of an aspect that you have a team and you're part of a team.
Absolutely, absolutely. Because this is something, it also challenges you. It pushes you forward. As a freelancer, you can, there's some people who get amazing, but I noticed that I was stalling with my progression. For example, the CTA coaching, I was not getting much better anymore. In the sense of my coaching, it became very similar, which is a good sign and a bad sign. I got very stable. I had my strategies. My students have been happy and successful, but I'm too young to keep on doing the same thing for the next couple of years. And honestly, once I noticed that I'm relaxed and good at what I'm doing, I was like, okay, maybe I should move on.
Yeah. All right. So now that you're moving on from the CTA coaching, can you give us some memories from the CTA coaching of some, something unforgettable that happened?
Yeah.
Best moments of coaching.
Yeah, best moment is always the same. So my partner is a primary school teacher. And the fun thing is my partner and I is during COVID. We both have been sitting in the same room together and we both had students. My students are 45-year-old managers and my partner's students are 5-year-olds. And we still did the same exercises. It felt.
What exercise was it?
The 5-finger method, like the structuring sentences. I copied that from my partner.
Some things you have to learn over and over again.
Something never changed. Then what was my favorite thing is 2/3 of my students don't do their homework.
Mm-hmm.
Not doing their homework is something I was like again and again surprised. Like, you pay me a lot of money, you're on this big journey to CTA, and you give it all, but you don't do your homework.
Are you really giving it all if you don't do your homework?
Exactly. Like, you promise me I give it all, but you know what? Finishing the cheat sheets is really boring. Like, coming back is the fun moments is it's kind of, we all become students again. And the same is true for me. No matter how old you are, no matter what title you are, once you're in the student role, you become a student again. This is, I think, which was the funniest moment for me always, like how people, almost revert back to being a student.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Did you notice the same about you, Hermanni? What type of student have you been?
I changed as the type of student throughout my student career. I was first, the straight A student, and then I was the student with dozens of unexplained absences afterwards, but still getting good grades because I realized that I don't have to put in the work to get it done. That changed on the CTA though. There's no not doing the work to get it done. So
yeah, and this maybe is even almost like what is the biggest trap, I would say, for people is, we talked a lot about it beforehand. Almost the CTA wall is people who had an easy career so far, easy in the sense of who are well prepared and think that, yes, I have like 10 years experience as an architect, I have like 20 plus certifications, I work for the biggest projects, and then suddenly the CTA wall hits them. You know it yourself, the CTA wall. Hermanni, what do I mean about it?
Yeah, the CTA wall, at least, you're just like, I know all of this stuff, but I have real trouble explaining it in the short time and coming up with the solutions. Like, if you give me a week, I'll definitely come up with a good solution. But if you give me just 3 hours for all of this, boy, it's overwhelming.
So I personally think, my opinion is that people who already know that they are not good have it almost easier because they know they have to put in the work and the effort. Mm-hmm. While people who are already very good sometimes have a hard time understanding, I really have to sit down and relearn everything one more time.
Exactly. That's correct.
What has been the area you had to relearn from scratch? Which was your strong area you still had to relearn?
1 month away around from the review board, I did a mock of mega print and I absolutely failed it. I had done really good mocks, I think, up until that point. And then all of a sudden, like, completely my timing, my communication, that was not on point. I was going way too much into detail. It wasn't a coherent story, but in 1 month, relearned that part and then passed the board.
Yeah. You never can be relaxed. And there is almost like, this is another thing, is there is not, this is maybe the hardest part about CTA review board. It's not like 60 or 70 or 80 or 90% make you pass. It has to be almost perfect end to end. And I think this makes it so hard. But let's do some fun stuff again. What I found really funny about myself is, to this day, I don't know how to solve the scenarios.
How did you pass it then?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. But for example, Megaprint. I just did Megaprint with a couple of my students, and then I was super convinced almost with Megaprint that the application of the vendors should be a custom object. Application vendors should be custom object. But then one of my students really convinced me, no, I think it should be an opportunity for the vendors to onboard the new venues, to onboard the new venues. It should be an opportunity. Yeah. And I'm like, no. And then we talked about, because for like 6 months, I was really convinced. And they talked about, maybe it should be an opportunity. And what I want to say is, I still don't know the solution. I think there is no solution key. There is
no. Especially for Megaprint. Like, there's 1,001 ways you can solve it using standard and custom objects. There are some requirements which are sort of more limited than others, but I think in most of the scenarios, and in the really good scenarios, there's a lot of room for solutioning, but your solution has to be sound in that it has to be coherent all the way.
Yeah. Today, one of my students showed me, it was really mind-blowing, Megaprint without a single custom object. And at first I was like, this can't be true.
I wanna see that.
Yes. I was like, this can't be true. Did you think about that? Yes, I thought about that, blah, blah. Did you think about that? Yes, I thought, blah, blah. Did you think about that? Yes. Yeah. So solved it, solid. I don't know if it's correct because, you never know, but it sounded correct without a custom object. No hacks, no dirty workarounds. For example, using keeping the payment completely off topic.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. Okay. So this is something which made me, but also very anxious about being a CTA coach. To this moment, I'm nervous.
But I think this is, again, something that you said in our coaching sessions when we practice judging the mocks, that it's so easy to just do the Q&A. You just ask, are you sure, until they break down.
And this is the same to this day. Like, I have done Newsworks, the Flow Republic scenario, like at least 50 times. And to this moment, I'm not sure how to do it. So I would again break down if somebody just pushed me hard enough. And this also is, what is the nicest thing about being a CTA coach is I work with the smartest, most dedicated people from around the world. But this also makes it the most exhausting job I ever had.
Yeah, you get caught on your mistakes
immediately, and they are nice, but they are, most of them are kind of happy finding me doing mistakes. Why not? They are proud.
Yeah, sometimes you might intentionally like do a mistake to see.
No,
like,
that was not a single. No.
Okay.
No, because so to this moment, I'm really nervous. For example, I'm really nervous, and I'm like, fuck, is it really that Live Agent cannot be used by external licenses?
On it? Are you sure?
Yeah, exactly. or what did we have like today? Using favorites in Experience Cloud. Can Experience Cloud users use favorites?
Honestly, I don't know.
So you see, I also didn't know. I was like, I don't know. So this was kind of the hard part about being a CTA coach, is that I also don't know. And even if I did a scenario a million times, I had to be exactly the same way of concentrated. The only thing that got easier is it was easier to know where they make mistakes, because most students make the same. So at the beginning of each session, I asked the people, are you admin or developer? Like, where's your heart? And from there, I could usually know which mistakes they make. At least the big ones. There's a couple of mistakes almost everyone made.
Yeah. I see. Like, whenever judging the mocks, I would I also saw the same mistakes. I'm like, same thing here, same thing as everyone. Gonna ask this about the Q&A.
Yeah, and the same as during Q&A. There's a couple of questions which are just too easy. When someone, so enterprise territory management.
Yeah.
Nobody knows how this works. I think Matt Gary knows.
Okay. You can contact Matt Gary if you want to know how enterprise territory management works.
But he's probably the only one in the world. So if someone suggests it, Hermanni, I always hone in on enterprise territory management immediately. Just say, oh yeah, walk me through it one more time. Oh, which objects are supported? Oh, how do you share child objects? It's not impossible to solve, but you have to really think about it.
And then I think always the data migration solutions are very Salesforce centric. When you have an ERP with duplicate records, it's a really small thing that you can fix very easily, but everybody suggests just we're going to upload the data just to Salesforce and change it just in Salesforce. Nobody considers that we're still going to have a whole bunch of duplicate records in the other systems.
I never considered that. That's a good point, Hermanni. I would have, yeah. Governance section. I only noticed that recently that most people just pretend to be good in governance section, and once you start to hone in a little bit, it's actually easy to break them. So
it's the easiest and at the same time most difficult because of that.
Yeah. So, and one thing which I didn't know myself, which I found really, you have to think enterprise. It's like and enterprise, I mean something like 1,000 users or up, at least 10 different countries, and Salesforce team has to be at least 30 people up. And you have to have some experience there. It doesn't mean you worked for an enterprise company. For example, I worked for Audibene here.com. We had only 1,500 employees, but all of them have been using Salesforce in 10 different countries with a Salesforce team of 30 people up. So this is kind of, we behaved like enterprise, or at least we had the same problems at enterprise. We had multi-stream projects. We had a COE. We didn't call it COE, but technically we had one. So if you never have done that, if you only worked small to medium projects, small to medium-sized projects, even if it's for large clients, it's kind of tough. It's exactly the government, especially the government section.
Yes, that's true. But then if you only work with enterprise clients, I notice that everything is LWC, custom.
Yeah, absolutely, exactly. So it's almost impossible, not impossible, but it's really hard to get the, hey, let's just throw 50 developers at every problem solution.
Yeah, exactly. It works.
Dear customer, we could use a list view, but we also could charge you 50,000 euro and send 10 people for 3 months.
And then the solution will still need to be reworked.
Yes, of course. And some of the users actually found the workaround of list views.
Yes, that's true. Yeah.
So,
all right.
I found it really interesting to work with different people from the different backgrounds. I learned a lot. And to this day, I usually use the last 5 to 10 minutes of a session, not with all, but most of my students, to ask the other way around. Hey, tell me something about what did you do today? What working today? Some tips you can give me. For example, today I talked with one of my students about how to keep and attract good talent in your team. It was super interesting. How do I do it? Or what's a lot of different things to learn. So this was kind of the interesting part for me.
Yeah. So then, to anybody who's on their journey to CTA, what do you have to say to them as a sort of having coached many people on it? And what would be your sort of one message that you want to send now that you're ending the coaching, at least for now?
Go where it's painful. Okay. To everyone who goes to the gym and complains you don't make any progress, like me, for example, it's because I sit at the machines and I just pretend to exercise, but it's never painful. And therefore, I don't make any gains. And the same is for CTA. Some of the students of mine say, hey, I did 90 sessions. And yes, they became really good, but you have a diminishing return of investment if you do 90 mocks or 90 sessions with the same 3 guys. it has to become painful. You have to mix it up. You have to mix up the style of the sessions. You have to mix up how you study. You have to mix up the people who you study with. You have to mix up the content you study. You have to mix up the questions you do. You have to mix it up all the time. Because Hermanni, did it happen to you that at some point you just had a diminishing return of investment on some topics?
Yeah, when you've aced those topics, you don't really want to work on them anymore. You want to focus on other things as well. But I had the lucky thing that we had quite a versatile group of people studying, like 7 or 8 people, and out of that there was always a subset of people judging the mock. So you get nice rotation.
This is a very good thing. So the feedback is, make sure you don't become complacent. As soon as you feel good, you're at the wrong spot. You never feel good on the journey to CTA, because even me now, after doing the same CTA scenarios for 3 years, I still don't feel confident. As soon as you feel confident, something is off. Let's put it this way. Hermanni, do you feel confident ever?
Yeah, a lot of the time, yes. But on the journey to CTA, I didn't feel confident about the journey to CTA until I read that email. Like all the people who had their exams on the same week had got theirs, weeks back, and it took over 6 weeks for me to get my results.
6 weeks?
Yes.
Oh.
And I'm just waiting, and then I see the email. It says, "Congrats, you've passed."
Oh God, how could you wait for 6 weeks? I can't even remember. Yeah, maybe one more thing, really important. Be nice to Susanne and don't annoy Susanne. Hermanni, you know what I mean.
Yes.
Susanne.
Everyone be nice to Susanne.
Be nice to Susanne. She is keeping it all together. Without Susanne, there would be no journey to CTA for none of us. Be nice to Susanne. We can't send her cake, but if you ever meet her, give her a coffee.
Yes. Yeah. All right. With that, I think we can conclude the interview. And thank you, Johann. And thanks for sharing your thoughts. And good luck, best of luck to you on your journey after the CTA coaching.
Thank you very much, Hermanni, and have a good time to everyone. See you.
You too.